Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals, like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/motivation or text motivation to 500-500. That's audible.com/motivation or text motivation to 500-500 to try Audible free for 30 days.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again. Football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
All right, Tom, this is a show that's been requested by many of your Facebook following fans. Everybody wanted this show. They want to see this episode. They want to hear the story of your buddy, former teammate, Larry Melnyk.
The great Larry Melynk, you wanted me to call him. You just said to me right before we go to the show, he says, you have to call me the great Larry Melynk.
Laidlaw's lying. He's lying through his teeth.
Well, you guys must be really desperate for somebody when you're calling me. Herb.
He won 2 Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers.
Wait, why is he calling you Herb? We don't. Let's tell our fans about that.
Herb Melnyk from 2.5 Men.
Okay.
So Herb Melnyk was, who was it? What's the brother on 2.5 Men?
John Cryer.
John Cryer. So his ex-wife's husband was Herb Melnyk.
Oh, there you go.
So now we changed to Herb.
Yeah,
to Herb.
And he's a tall Canadian.
Right.
Who was the Letterman guy? That was Melman. Bud Melman, right?
Melman. Right. And Eugene Melnyk. He passed away though, right? So Mel is Ukrainian too, by the way.
Yeah.
That matters.
Ukrainian, German, Scottish.
So let's get into it, Tom. Let's tell a story of your buddy here, Larry Melnyk.
Well, so we did a show on Thursdays with Larry Melnyk, James Patrick, Ron Greshner, and myself. And everybody on the show has been divorced. 2 of us have been divorced twice. Larry Melnyk's the grouchiest bastard in the world, and he's still married. So he starts giving marriage advice, and he claims that he makes his wife get up on the roof and fix a satellite dish. They sit in a separate room.
What satellite dish? What year is this?
But this is the way he talks about his wife. His wife is this wonderful person, beautiful inside and out, Rochelle Melnyk. And she really loves you too. It's a scary thing. How you doing, Mel?
I'm good, Tom. You?
I'm excellent.
That intro.
Now that we're back to being friends again, because you ditched me on, you wouldn't email me, you wouldn't call me, and then you called me, but you need me for something. So there you go.
No. Let's get it straight. You go for a straight start where you only communicate using emails. Now you only communicate using WhatsApp. Felt like I was a 15-year-old girl getting on that WhatsApp there. But
yeah, like I've explained to you, our Canadian, I don't know what your phone bill is a month, but if I phone you in New York, which I want to do because I want to talk to you,
right? It's
$9 every day. $9 for one phone call.
One phone call. Well,
or I go,
am I not worth it?
No, that's why I called you, because the email and the texting wasn't working.
So the WhatsApp, though, but WhatsApp, we can make calls on WhatsApp.
That's right. Or Messenger. Like I've been doing, like Danny DeVito and I are good friends now. We're back and forth, and Connor Tidiak. And
Well, these are all guys now. These are all guys that follow us on that old Thursday show you used to have.
they were your friends.
Yeah. Well, now, you stole them away.
Yeah.
Mel,
So,
Mel,
yeah,
hold on, Mel. The marriage, what?
the marriage thing is, hey, believe me, Tom, it's not easy, right?
And some divorce.
Yeah.
Twice.
So, because of my snoring and, the fact that we broke, and you didn't break your nose. You didn't, was it 10? It wasn't 10 broken noses.
No.
You had one
nose that he broke 10 times.
broke 10.
Good point. What's their point by you?
Yeah. So 10 broken, and
Broke your nose.
yeah, what so then,
Yeah.
so then you go on Amazon because Dave Maloney's wife, Pamela,
Yep.
I had to support her. So I go on Amazon and buy this snore guard. And it pushes your lower jaw so far that it wrecks your jaw, period. So your jaw hurts all day, but you don't snore and Rochelle's happy. So I'm in pain, or is Rochelle happy?
It's more important to have her happy.
That's
More
right.
important.
Happy wife, happy life.
So about 15 years ago or whatever, she has her own room. She's made it all up. I got the king room. We share a closet because we, have lots of clothes and, and then so we go on trips, but it's worked. So,
Right. And you guys have hallway sex too, don't you?
no,
Really?
that's Gresham.
Yeah, you walk by each other and say, F you, F you.
Oh.
Hallway sex.
Tom, you slept in separate beds from your wives, right? In separate houses too, right?
Yeah, separate states. Yeah.
I think so.
Separate bank accounts now too. Theirs are bigger than mine. Well, okay. Where were we born, Mel? People that do not know.
Let's get back to that money thing. That was a big fight because when we started going out, she said, we have to have a joint bank account. I said, what the hell for? I'll give you money when you need, but no, got to have a joint bank account. So my money is her money. Our money is her money. Her money is her money. I've never taken a cent out of her bank account.
So you've got her own separate bank account, and then you have joint accounts.
I think her own bank account is joint, but I don't even know how to go in and get it.
See, that was aside from me that my first ex-wife, when her father passed away, she left her a sizable estate. And when she came home and put it in her own bank account, not our joint account, I had a pretty good hint that our marriage was just about over. So, well, that's a good tip right there.
Like Rochelle, she's a good spender. Like she'll buy, you buy some expensive stuff, but we have friends that buy $2,000 and $3,000 purses, and Rochelle will go find that $2,000 or $3,000 purse for $400 or $500.
Oh, okay. She's got out there being sarcastic.
That type of thing,
Oh.
which makes total sense to me. Like,
Yeah, totally.
we grew up. So I grew up in Saskatoon. I was born in Saskatoon. We didn't have a lot, but we had enough.
Right.
1,000 square foot house. Slept in a bunk bed with my brother. Tormented the shit out of each other like normal brothers.
Sure.
And that's how everything started. But here's the thing that Tom, you've talked to me over and under the couch, and I'm still pissed off about a few things, and we'll go through it. Okay. Number one, I was born in Saskatoon,
right,
not as stated by the NHL or O-Pee-Chee or what are the other stupid hockey cards that got. I wasn't born in Winnipeg, and I wasn't born in New Westminster, so that's all wrong. I never had an O-Pee-Chee or any hockey card, for Christ's sakes, until New York. That's
right. 6
years into my career.
Right.
So not only did they forget me, the Edmonton Oilers in that book forgot me.
Okay, so let's back up on this now.
Yeah.
So Larry was in Edmonton when they won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
And some wonderful woman did a book on the history of the Edmonton Oilers, all the players in it. And there's only one player that was not listed in the book that had played for the Edmonton Oilers.
2 Stanley Cup rings, and I wasn't mentioned in the book.
Really?
So across 1986, when we took Montreal to the semifinals,
right, yeah,
lost to those French,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know where I stand on that.
Yeah.
Steve Smith,
who shot the puck in his own net.
Not Steve Smith, my neighbor,
right,
shot the puck in. He took my job. He's mentioned in the book, of course,
because
he went on to, he went on and won a couple of rings. The next year they won again, so he got a couple of rings. He turned out to be a really good defenseman. But hey, he made one mistake. And I'm in New York, and I think Helene Elliott or somebody asked me, well, what would you have done? I said, well, I would have done what I always do. You would have shot it around the boards.
Right.
Wouldn't have shot it anyways. So that was that. So yeah, I've been.
But you did live in Winnipeg, though.
Yes.
Which one more?
And that's another one of my things.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that one. That one old woman that told you what your career was going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So how old were you when you went to Winnipeg?
So Saskatoon, my dad worked for there's two railways, Canadian National.
This is what Larry does here. So you ask Larry a question, and then he'll tell you something else. Like there's no.
Well, no.
What?
I thought, don't I have like 2 hours?
You know what? You can go as long as you want because your soliloquies are.
My soliloquy.
Yeah.
If you want me to talk, let me talk.
Okay, I will. Okay, I just wanted to straighten out with all our listeners that this is what happens when they communicate with you. If you ask the question, you get another answer. At some point, you get to the answer.
I've written some stuff down like I did for the Thursday show. So, Tom, when I was a kid, I was an introvert. I never said a thing to frickin' anybody.
Right.
Like I was an introvert. For me to even do this show, like I had to go up when I was a kid in front of the whole school because we had some stupid show and tell in the front of the whole school.
Right.
And that was one of the only mornings in my childhood where I didn't have my fried bologna and mustard sandwich.
You ever fried the bologna?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
That's how we grew up.
What kind of bread? Like white bread?
White bread, of course.
Okay.
And yellow mustard,
Yeah.
everybody had that.
Heinz?
So for me to do this stuff now, I've come a long way.
Yes, you have.
Now I don't give a shit. I'll be 63 on Tuesday.
Right. I really happy birthday.
Yeah. So anybody I'll send you my address, send me gifts. And shit, I forgot what I was going to say now, Doc.
And this is also part of the pattern. Okay. How old were you when you moved to Winnipeg?
So my dad worked for the railway. He got transferred as a result of the railway at 12. So
he was 12 or you were 12?
Tommy, come on.
What? He got transferred at 12.
We got transferred. The family got transferred. My dad got transferred.
You were 12 years old then.
That was child labor.
All right. I don't know.
Yeah, I was 12 years old.
12 years old. So you'd already started playing hockey at that point.
I think I started, every school back then, Saskatoon, Winnipeg in Canada had a rink. Every school had a rink outside.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I was out, and I took my skates and my stick most days to school. In between, like for recess and lunch, we'd skate, and after school we'd go skate, and so that's how we grew up. And then baseball, football, badminton.
Right. You name it. You badminton. Was badminton an organized sport back then?
No, high school.
This is high school. Okay.
I don't want to brag, Tom, but I was pretty freaking good.
Wait, were you actually on a badminton team?
No.
Okay.
Just I was a singles champion in badminton. I was shot put champion in school. I was track. You name it, Tom.
You were good at football too, weren't you?
Oh, really good. Yeah, I was pretty good in football. My again, not to brag, Tom, but my phys ed teacher said I probably could have played in the CFL.
Oh, okay. Good. If everybody doesn't know, it's a Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pass. What is the pass? No, run, pass, and kick. Right. It's three different rounds.
Everybody. That's the league where everybody's the Rough Riders, right? Every team.
Yeah.
That's right. It's only 6 teams, and 2 of them are Rough Riders.
Way to go, Canada.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're not very creative up there.
We're pretty smart up here.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So you moved to Winnipeg. You're already playing hockey. Now, you're always a defenseman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Winnipeg, there was a guy by the name of Haas Nicholson who was the New Westminster Bruins scout. So Ernie McLean and Bill Shinsky, they ran the New Westminster Bruins, which at the time had Barry Beck, Brad Maxwell, Miles Zaharko, Stan Field, Johnny O'Grodnick.
Miles was on that team?
Yeah, Miles Zaharko.
Well, really?
Yeah. So Miles,
that's cool. Who's Miles Zaharko?
Defenseman. But the point of the matter is those teams went to 4 straight Memorial Cups, which has never been done, and probably the toughest. Harold Filipoff, probably the toughest teams ever.
Right.
Like at the time, they probably could have beat quite a few of the NHL teams. So that's
so. If he doesn't know, this is a Western Junior Hockey League, the major junior hockey league up in Canada.
Yeah, which Ron Greshner was on, and Bobby Hess, and so Gresh and I have talked about that, and walking 2 miles to the arena just before the game instead of driving on the bus. And our coach was a little crazy, but we made it.
So, okay. So you kind of jumped ahead a little bit there. So you moved to Winnipeg, you're playing hockey, then you get drafted by what is it again? What's the team?
New Westminster Bruins.
That's right. You got drafted by them? Is that how it was back then or no?
No, back then there was a 90 player list.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know how, first one come first serve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they put me on the list, and back then we only had telephones, so I guess they phoned or sent a letter or something and said, "You're on the list. Would you like to come to camp, Westlock, Alberta?" I said, "Well, I guess so." And then punch. There was a few of us from Winnipeg that went. Jimmy Dobson, who played in Minnesota for a bit, him and I got on the bus. There was 2 of us to start, and by the time we got to Westlock, the bus was full. And
wow,
that was our first training camp. We stayed in a barracks with what do they call it? Army barracks, actually.
Army barracks.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but you fought through a lot of stuff that other people couldn't possibly fight through in your past to get to that point. Like tell us about this. You're in Winnipeg, and you tell everybody you're going to play in the National Hockey League, and you had some very intelligent young woman made a comment to you that kind of was
controversy, adversity. You just have to fight through it, Tommy.
right. So what did she say exactly?
And I don't want to brag, but I was pretty good. I was like, we're all really good athletes growing up.
Right.
And then once you get to NHL, you realize, holy shit, we're not that good. Right.
Okay.
So for being pretty quiet and, not saying much, I was if I did say anything, I was extremely conceited. I said to everybody, I don't give a shit what you say. I'm going to the NHL. Just watch.
And she said,
well, the girls, I guess, and I didn't realize this till 20 some years later on Facebook, she hooks up with me, like not hooks up, but we get in touch again. We get in touch again.
Yeah.
She sat in front of me, and I guess I bugged the shit out of her for like 2 years.
Oh, I didn't know this part. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I just found this out the other day.
Oh.
So I guess she sat in front of me, and the typical shit. You pull her hair, you do this, you throw spitballs and shit. So anyways, she's the editor of the school book, yearbook.
Right.
And I said to everybody, like I said, I'm going to the NHL, and that's all I wanted to talk about.
Right.
And in the yearbook, she says, the first year, she says, the chances of Larry going to the NHL are slim and none. He's got a better chance of being a Zamboni driver. So that was the first year. This is Winnipeg. And then Winnipeg's also known for something. So the next year she says, yeah, Larry's got a chance of going to the NHL League. He's got a chance at the Royal Winnipeg Ballet.
Oh, I didn't know this part.
That was the second year. She ripped me 2 years in a row. But as much as I bugged her, she became a doctor. So
you probably helped her.
I helped her. Yeah.
Right. Made her concentrate on her studies. So during this, you're going to get a theme of Larry's life. The constant downgrading him fighting through it. It's like a story of pure motivation is what it is, really.
Kind of like this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you asked me if I'd played defense. So I get drafted by, am I jumping, Jimmy?
Or jump wherever you want. It's your show. This is the Larry Melnyk show.
Yeah. So so I go to, I get drafted. I got drafted before you, which was good. 78th overall. I think you were 90th or something.
96.
Yeah, 96. So
same draft too. Same draft.
Really? Yeah. So I was much better than you were. And so I get drafted by Boston. I make it my first year. Then they send me down to Springfield, Massachusetts, about an hour and a bit. And Ronnie Wilson's uncle, Johnny Wilson, is the coach.
Oh,
well, in his infinite wisdom, I'm playing the shits because I'm pissed off. I'm in the American League fighting these freaking
monkeys.
Yeah. Tough guy, Val James, and oh my God. Anyways, I made it through that. But Johnny Wilson, I'm playing so bad, he puts me on left wing. So I think I played left wing for 4 or 5 games. And I was just lost.
Oh, yeah.
Lost.
So anybody that doesn't know, when you play defense, you played it all your life. To now go up and play forward, it's a whole different game. Yeah. So to your credit, again, another thing you're going to fight through. So this is a theme here.
So fought through that, and then
nice watch, by the way.
Yeah, Tissot.
Thank you.
Tissot. Just to throw it out there. Oh, and I'm wearing the Paco Rabanne cologne, Million, called Million, and I got the black skinny jeans from Armani on.
Oh, okay. This is what Larry does. Black skinny jeans.
What year is this?
And he's got the high boots that he wears with those.
Paco Rabanne?
Paco Rabanne is a cologne. Sorry.
Yeah,
2 Toms. If you put your minds together, you 2 Toms will figure it out.
2 Toms, no cup.
2 Toms, okay.
Yeah.
So you go to the minors. You're playing forward. Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, playing forward for a few games, and then I think Harry Sinden. He's a real smart man too.
He is the general manager of the Boston Bruins at the time.
Yeah,
people don't know.
He calls me up here and there intermittently during the season. I drive to Boston. I don't get a shift. back then, if you didn't get a shift, you didn't get a game. You had to go on the ice to get a game, right? So I missed a few games here and there. I probably would have played 900 games instead of 400,
Right.
Because I was in the stands a lot of the time as well. So finally, I don't know if I've told this story, but I think I have to.
Okay.
Jeff Cortnell, I'm in Hershey now. Hershey's 7,000 people. It's where they make the Hershey chocolate bars.
Yes. Makes sense.
Every morning, yeah. Some people, again, you don't put it together, but so I'm in Hershey, and I'm sitting beside Brad Palmer, who got drafted by Minnesota first.
Didn't wear a helmet either. He had big, like, Barry Beck hair.
Yeah, fuzzy hair.
Yeah.
Jeff Cortnell's is there. So anyway, I'm on the bus, and we're coming back from Adirondack. We're going through the mountains, and
That'd be the Adirondack.
Yeah, you'd have to go through the mountains.
Right.
So, but after the game, we go across to the pizza joint, order pizza, get some beers. The bus driver's sitting having a couple of beers with us, because that's what they did back then. So we get on the road, winding road, palmy. Brad Palmer's queasy stomach. He says, "Mel, tell the bus driver to slow down." And it's dark. We don't have the lights on.
This driver's drunk.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm getting drunk too, because I know so I tell the bus driver to slow down. He doesn't. I do it again. He doesn't. So I take an empty beer can and I chuck it at him. So that's probably a no-no.
Yeah, you should do that. When the driver's drunk like that, yeah.
So, and then I throw another one. And then Gary Innes is the coach. He says, "You do that one more time, you're out of here." Well, I can't go anywhere. I'm on a bus. We're about 2 hours out of Hershey.
And you're in the mountains.
And in the mountains. So I chuck one at the coach, Gary Innes. So I chuck three. This is a treat. Jeff Cortnell, they'll substantiate this.
They were empty cans, right?
They were in. Well,
okay.
Not dumb, Tom.
Wow.
Come on. PBRs or Old Milwaukee's or Miller Lights, probably. I don't know.
Larry actually does drink PBRs too.
Yeah.
Looking at the planet, he still drinks PBRs. Go ahead.
So the next morning I get called into the manager's office and he says, "Larry, we're going to have to suspend you for conduct unbecoming." I said, "Well, I really don't give a shit. Tell Harry Sinden to get me the hell out of here." Which I thought that's the second. I also told him, I went into his office one time and told, "Get me out of here, because you're bringing me up." I played more playoff games than I played regular season games.
Right.
So 3 days later, I get traded to Edmonton.
There you go.
Sather and Sinden, I guess, were fishing buddies, did a lot of trades together. And I got traded. The only reason I got traded was because I had playoff experience. I'm 24 years old.
Right.
The whole nucleus of that Oiler team were 24, 25 years old. And they needed a 7th or 8th defenseman. And that's how I got to play. First Stanley Cup, Charlie Huddy gets hurt. There's 7 or 8 black aces, the extra guys that get their bags skated off after practice without the regular players.
Right.
And got on to 2 Stanley Cup teams.
But there's no record of that you played there.
There's no record that I played there, except for the 2 rings.
And what do you do? Do you do anything to kind of celebrate the 2 rings, or the 2 cups that you won currently?
Well, I've got pictures all over the house. Master bedroom.
Do you think anybody else knows, like when you drive down the road, for instance, do you think anybody else knows that you won a couple of Stanley Cups?
So Steve Smith, not the Steve Smith that shot the puck in his own net in 86.
Right.
Steve Smith, my neighbor, works for Signorama, and he does all these signs and everything for me. So it was his idea. He wanted to put a big Stanley Cup on the side of my car,
right,
on the doors, right? I said, "Well, Steve, why don't we start slow or small?" And so we put them right beside the rear bumper, right beside one on the side of the license.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, and with the years on, and people, it's pretty small, so people are probably looking 84, 85. Who the hell is this guy?
Right. So do you think they're saying, like, why is this guy driving down the road with 2 Stanley Cups? Like, isn't that kind of vain? Or?
But I can honestly tell you, Tom, when I go to a grocery, like I was in Stickett near Moose, where Ronnie Flockhart is, and people will stop me and say, "Oh, did you play hockey?" I said, "Yeah," because so it's a conversation piece.
Do you tell them who you are, or do you keep that?
Well, eventually I do, because I got the ring on, and then if they have little kids, I get I give the ring to the kids and have them take a picture, and so.
And didn't you break your rings or something? Or
I cracked them both. Yeah, got a little mad. But
they broke. Was that after a few PBRs?
Yeah, you could say that. Well, I slam my hand down if I get mad, or I didn't punch anybody, if that's what you mean.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm a gentle. I don't.
It's right. So how many years were you in Edmonton then?
1.5, just enough for 2 rings.
2 rings. Oh, that's good. Nice. So you got in. Yes.
Got traded at the deadline for the first one.
Right.
And then played through. And the year so 86, when I got traded to New York, and that's when you and I became partners. Eventually.
Good friends. Best friends.
Yeah, best friends. I had 2 goals, 3 assists. I had 5 points in 7 games. I was a +8, and they sent me to New York.
Because the Rangers wanted you so bad. That's why, because you're playing so well.
No, sorry. I spoke wrong. They sent me down. Then Steve Smith took my job. Then Anders Hedberg was scouting in the American League and saw me.
Oh,
and that's how that worked.
And you get traded for Mike Rogers, right?
That's right. And Rogers had been in Edmonton before. I looked up his stats. He had like 90 points.
Oh, he was a good player. Yeah, really good. He was on the line in Hartford, Stash, Dash, and Bash.
Yeah, well,
Stash was Blaine Stoughton, Bash was Pat Boutet, and Mike was Stash, Dash, and Bash.
Wow, good memory.
So that's what I do. That's what I do.
Not really.
All about memories.
Well, listen, we've turned out pretty good, Tom. Like for you, a farmer from Frankenmuth, Michigan, you were a pretty smart guy. Like seriously, like
Thank you.
You became a and I wrote this down because I take notes.
You prepared?
I take notes.
Did your homework?
In green, I did my homework. But you became an agent, which is almost a lawyer, which makes you almost pretty smart, right? And the only other lawyer that I know was George McPhee.
George McPhee, that's right. Yes,
yeah.
Lawyer. Well, Stu Grimson's a lawyer as well.
Oh, I thought he was a priest.
No, I don't think so.
But almost a lawyer is kind of far from 6 years of law school, though.
Well, that's kind of overrated, law school.
Well, Tommy didn't finish. He only finished 3 years.
No, I went 4 years at Northern Michigan.
Well,
last year I was taking bowling, phys ed.
And then 1 year of truck driver school.
Correct. Just 3 weeks of truck driving school. That was classic right there.
Well,
that's something that most people can't say that they've ever done. Have you gone to truck driving school?
I have not, actually, no.
Yeah. So Mel, okay, so you get to New York. How long did you play? How often did you play? You played a lot.
2.5 years with you, Tom.
That's right. My pleasure. And I got traded right before you got traded, correct?
Yeah.
So you guys were actual partners, though?
Yes, we were partners.
Yes.
So
yes.
That was the defensive player, right?
There was one time we both went to hit the same guy in front of the net. It's one of those things where you hit the guy, you both fall down. And our egos kicked in there. We were not too happy about that. I remember I had a video of that, too. That was classic. We both got up like, was everybody watching that? Was everybody watching?
Yeah.
Well,
I was watching game film like I really do because I watch hockey all the time.
You love hockey, yeah.
I love hockey. I was watching game film, and the first game that I played was against the Islanders, and Willie Huber and I were defense partners. So,
okay.
Because I was left-handed shot, but I enjoyed playing the right side better.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So, but when you and I played, I was left. You were I was right side. You were left side. And, we killed penalties and
yeah. And so, one of the greatest all-time fights the New York Rangers had, Larry Melnyk against Dave Brown of the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, this time Dave Brown was pretty much the heavyweight champ of the league, right? Isn't that fair to say?
Him along with Tom, it's funny you brought that up. Someone just sent me an article that came out of Philly, and it was like 3 paragraphs saying, "Oh, this about Brown and this," but like with all the other guys, Domi, Probert, Kosher, right. Whoever, list 3 paragraphs of it, and at the end of the stupid little Philadelphia rant,
right,
all those black and orange clowns,
yeah,
it says the only person or only guy who happened to be a Ranger that did half-assed well against Brown was, of all people, Larry Melnyk.
Is that the way they said it?
Yeah, of all people. So, and again, another jab, another shot.
See, there it is. There's the theme, right? You're always getting put down, but you're always fighting back.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story. It's a story. It should be a movie, your life story. It should be.
I know.
Yeah.
And for me to still be sane is, I don't, that's almost sane.
So Larry, was that in the wake of when Brown almost decapitated Thomas Sandstrom?
It was after that.
Yeah.
So Brown was hated. Oh, Brown was hated by everybody. Yeah. And so what happened was they were in front of the Ranger net, and Brown did something to Larry, and then Larry chased him up to the center ice. And then Brown turned around, and we're all like, "Oh, Larry, geez, you're in trouble there." But Larry smoked them both. So Dave Brown throws left. So usually guys in the NHL are pretty much all right-handed punchers. But Mel, you can throw both hands, right?
Yeah.
And you knew that Brown. You obviously knew Brown was lefty. Mel smoked him. Oh, it was beautiful to watch. If anyone wants a good video, go to YouTube and watch Larry Melnyk fighting Dave Brown. Oh, it's a good one. I remember watching it on the bench, or I guess I was on the ice with you probably. Because I'm thinking, oh, Mel, what are you doing there? But
Larry, did you know that was coming? Because we've had guys on who had to fight Dave Brown, and they were like telling us they were sick the night before. They don't want to play. They want to get scratched. How did you feel before that?
No, that wasn't. I wasn't the heavyweight like those guys. I was a light middleweight.
But you fought everybody.
But I fought, because I have an attitude problem. But no, I knew some guys, like the Sutters. I knew I fought Richie and Dwayne, and there were certain guys that I would try and target if I was pissed off. Right. But there's no way I'm going to go after a Brown or a Probert or any on purpose.
Right.
Like
you kind of had to do that one, right? You're stuck in there, yeah.
Well, that one, like again, he embarrassed me. He cross-checked me in front of the net, knocked me on my ass into Beezer,
right?
And I chased him up the ice, and I know what those guys are talking about, because I've seen other fight videos of him, and if he gets that left hand going, you're not stopping him.
Well, but he still had it going, but you just had it going more.
Well, he got in a few at the beginning and knocked my head back. You can see it, and then Johnny Davidson saying, "I'm not sure what this guy's doing, Melnyk, but give him credit." I said, I'm crapping my pants, and. So in the end, I was able to grab his left hand, but because I was so small, I was only like 195 pounds, 6 feet. I learned to throw with both hands because I surprised him. So
that was good.
You get some. It doesn't matter if you get beat up. You know, it hurts if you break your jaw, which doesn't really happen all that often. And I really never got hurt in fights. But you got to show up. Back then, you didn't show. That's the only way I was going to play.
Well, you're. I don't think you give yourself enough credit as far as being a player too. You're a good hockey player, really good defenseman. But yeah, you were tough. So did you like fighting? Like most of the fighters you talked to didn't really like the fighting, but they did it because they had to.
I didn't mind.
Right.
Like seriously, it was, to me, it was a challenge. It's just like, growing up in Saskatoon and Winnipeg, anything I did. Pool, racquetball, you name it. We were all competitive. We wanted to win. So I didn't want anybody to show me up.
Right.
And I didn't I remember fighting a kid in school, at recess every day. His kid's name was Chris St. Germain. So I was fighting when I was 7, 8, 9 years
old. You fought the same kid every day?
Yeah, he was and he lived down the street from me. We used to fight all the time.
What, you guys didn't like each other?
I don't remember that part.
I know, because you just won't back down. That's the thing. You're not going to back down.
Well, you can't. And that's the way. And I remember other guys, older guys in school, because I was saying I'm going to the NHL, they wanted to fight me too. And I don't know why. I guess I ran because they never beat me up.
Right.
So,
Larry, I just watched the fight with Brown. You got him with about 8 lefts, but then there's about a minute of him just jawing at you. Do you remember what he said after the fight?
That was kind of me.
Yeah.
I said to him, well, you cross-check me, keep your stick down. You don't need to do that. I'm going to make something up. He said, you're not good enough to do that. That's all I said was keep your stick down.
But he was so used to winning all the time. I think he was embarrassed a little bit.
He looked stunned, too. He looked kind of stunned. People should go watch that on YouTube. It's all over the place. Good fight.
Good fight. That's one of the all-time best fights, Rangers. I think people talk about that all the time. Yeah. Larry Melnyk.
Did you ever beat up Tom in practice? Because sometimes guys get heated.
The records show that we had a fight in our rookie year when he was with Boston. No, Melton.
Who got the W?
We don't remember the fight.
I can't find it. In all my research, I haven't been able to locate that one.
You do a lot of research, too.
I would suggest that it would have been me, but you never know. Some people get lucky sometimes.
Wait, hold on. Wait, can we it's actually, there's a fight card on hockeyfights.com.
Yeah.
November 26, 1980, second period.
So you take a look at, I got to know Brad May a little bit, who played in Buffalo and Phoenix and everywhere. He had 50 fights in 1 year in junior.
Wow.
1 year. I think I had 60 or 70 fights in 600 games in the NHL.
Yeah, it's still a lot. And you fought the heavyweights too, Chris Nyland, all the heavyweights at that time. So how many years did you have in New York?
2.5, I think.
2.5. And then you get traded to Vancouver.
Yeah.
You-
well, I'm
you-
still pissed. I'll reiterate, Tom. You want me to spell that?
Yep.
You
Spell that THAT.
Yeah. And you getting traded still to this day pisses me off. They didn't need to do that. We were 1 goal or 2 goal scorers or 2 forwards away from the next year because we had the 3rd best goals against in 86.
Yeah.
All we needed, and then they go and trade you. I was so freaking mad. Then, so they bring in who Markel Dione, 39 years old.
Marcel Dion.
And he comes and anyway.
But that is the thing. Like when you get traded out, how you are. Like part of the thing is your ego kicks in. You want to make sure you get traded for a good player. So as myself and Bobby Carpenter, and when I found out it was Marcel Dion, I thought, okay, well he was good, but he's 90 years old now. For God's sake.
That might be as bad as Phil's trade of Ridley and Miller for Carpenter. I mean, that's a terrible trade.
I know. Well,
What the hell happened to Bobby? Couldn't score in the ocean when he came to us.
yeah, he missed. Did he miss the whole year with a holdout? Is it a whole year he missed?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, it's one of the funniest scenes. So when he got traded together, one of our first trips was back on the East Coast, and we went into Washington where he had played. And during warm-ups, this rather large gentleman, with popcorn all over his shirt and everything, he's yelling at Bobby, "You suck! Your dog sucks!" All this kinds of stuff. And we had Tiger Williams on the team, and Tiger's really big on the team thing. And he'd gotten all the pucks put in his jersey, got up on the glass, and he starts firing the pucks at this guy that's yelling at Carpenter. And I love Pete Peters was skating the center ice. And Pete Peters, I didn't see what was going on at first. And Peters says, "Oh my God!" So we look up. We stood there in the center ice, watched Tiger do this, and he was smart too. Tiger, did you ever play with Tiger?
No, played against him, but I got to know him after the fact.
Right. But he was a real good team guy. He waited for everybody. I watched him. He waited for everybody to get in the locker room, and he says nobody ever does that to one of our teammates. So like he did that with a purpose. It wasn't just him losing his cool. He really knew what he's doing. It was good. So who was it? You and Big Willie Huber got traded together, right?
Yes. Yeah, for Michel Petit.
Oh, Mike Small.
And that was the day before the day we were in Edmonton.
Right.
Well, we got traded. So I think we're at the downtown Marriott.
Right.
And Willie and I were in, and Johnny Davidson, great people. Johnny and Sam came to our room and said, "Oh, so sorry. Like we can't believe that this just happened." And I said, "Well, whatever." And to Vancouver, of all places, they had the shittiest team in the league.
Worst jerseys too.
Worst jerseys.
Oh, those are great jerseys. Wow.
Oh,
not the yellow V. The flying skate's a great jersey.
Oh no, didn't they have
that was next year.
Right.
So this is 87, I guess.
Right.
It's so
now. Didn't I just go back up? What's up, real quick? Didn't you have a little meeting with the coach there that you didn't like at the time? What was his name?
Oh, Mikkel Bergeron. Yeah. Oh yeah. So Bergeron is the coach of Quebec Nordiques at the time. I'm in Boston.
That's right.
He sends out Basil McRae to fight me every game. Basil or Basil or whatever.
It is Basil, but Basil.
Basil puts his freaking finger in my eye and rips my contact out. So I didn't have to play that game. Thanks, Basil. Because I couldn't see. But so Bergeron, back then coaches would yell at players all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So he'd yell at me all the time, send out Basil McRae. So lo and behold, not only does he move into the condo next to me in Melnyk, he becomes the coach of the Rangers, calls me into the office one day in his broken French and says, "Hey, Larry, we want you to change your number 30. I said, "No, my mom likes that number. I'll keep it. Thanks." I walked out. Well, I don't know. 2 weeks later, I get traded for a Frenchman. So figure that out.
Larry, that's a great. How did you wind up with number 30? That's a goalie number. How'd they give that to you?
Because that's what they offered, and I didn't say, well, I really don't want to wear it. I didn't want to rock the boat like in Boston. They had a telephone in the stick. What do you call it?
Stick room.
In the stick room. So I'm pretty damn sure. And I don't want to knock the guys after the fact, but I'm pretty damn sure anything that was said in the dressing room was going from the dressing room,
Harry,
the trainers, to upstairs, right? So I didn't want to say to who was Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah, the
Jerry guy too.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Jerry. I don't like that number, and then he goes and says Melnyk's already causing shit.
Right.
So
he wouldn't do that, but you did.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You start
Jerry Maloney. Can I tell you a quick Jerry Maloney story? He was a fantastic guy. He had a terrible stuttering problem.
He's your trainer, right?
Trainer, yes. But guys loved him. So there was one time, it happened a few times to him, but he got on the phone with Steve Vickers' wife for some reason. I had to call. And he started stuttering, and she thought it was some creep. Right? So we let him go for a while because it was so funny to watch. And then we finally picked up the phone and said, listen, it's Jerry Melynk. Yeah, man, he's a funny guy, too. He was good. We lost him a few years ago, too. But
yeah.
So what number did you wear in Boston then?
33.
Oh, so this was a new number you got with the Rangers. They gave you 30, and that was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So then when you get...
They didn't offer me any other number that I can remember, and I didn't think quick enough to say, okay, well, I don't want that. And I remember Nyland had 30, and I didn't give a shit. And to be perfectly honest, Tommy, I was up and down so much in the American League with the Oilers and Boston. And I've told you this on the Thursday, this was my last chance. If I didn't, and I'm surprised they didn't send me down. So I guess they sent Steve Richmond, or they traded Steve Richmond.
That's right. Yeah.
And they kept me up. And I remember that first morning skate, Teddy Sater, the European Flash, had me do some exercises or some skating drills. I didn't do any of them right. And I thought, holy shit, I'm not gonna be here very long. So we played the Islanders that night, and I don't think I slept that day. And I fought Dwayne Sutter, beat the crap out of him. We won the game, had a pretty good game, and we just kind of rolled. I think we had 47 or 50 games where we rolled.
Yeah.
And it was, so it saved my career. That's for sure.
Yes, it was. You're a big part of that team for sure. Yes. So then you get traded to beautiful Vancouver.
Yes.
Bad team at that point too. It wasn't a very good team, right?
So bad, but very tough, which was important.
Right.
So
right.
we had the Philadelphia guys, Richter, Stanley, Craig Cox, myself. I don't know who else was there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and they had Bob McCann. Bob McCann was the head coach. Jack McElhargy was assistant coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you get along with McCann?
Good for a while. I remember the first couple of practices, and I knew Barry Peterson. He was there because I lived with him in Boston for a bit on and off. And the first practice, I just said, "Holy shit!" Like, I don't think I broke a sweat.
Oh,
like I think he threw a puck in the corner, go get it. Like it was. I said, "What the hell?" No wonder you're the worst team in the league.
He was old school. He was definitely old school. Yeah.
Yeah. I had, and this is the day before a game, so I get good guys. Like the guys were good on the team, right? But the core had been losing since '82, right? This is '87, '88 now,
right?
And they needed to change. So Pat Quinn, who was outstanding and a very intelligent hockey guy, Brian Burke, intelligent hockey guy, and they made a couple of trades and brought in Trevor Linden in '88, and then turned it around. Lost to Calgary, who won the Cup in '89. Went to 7 games.
Yeah, that was a great series.
Yeah. So
now you and McCammon, you guys didn't exactly room together, right? You didn't exchange Christmas gifts or anything like that.
No. So another story where, so three games in, you and I used to block shots, and we'd slide left, we'd slide right, we'd pop down on our knees, we'd block shots, not the way they do now, like a freaking octopus with their legs and arms flailing like they have no idea what they're doing. No wonder they break their hands and get shots in the nuts and shit. But so third game in, I slide like I always had. What the hell's the bald-headed guy, Winnipeg defenseman, won the Norris in Pittsburgh?
Oh yeah, Carlisle.
Randy Carlisle's up at the blue line. I slide. He hesitates for a fraction of a second. Slap shot, breaks my orbital bone right by my eye in 4 places. So I had to continue. I took a month and a half. I missed a month and a half. I come back. It's like second last game of the season. We're 60 points out of a playoff spot. We're playing Calgary, who wins the Cup that year. And I think we lost 6-2. I think I was -5. So McCammon, for some reason, McElhargy comes in the dressing room, slams the door. We lost 6-2 to the first place team in the league. And he starts ripping into everybody. Sutter, you're useless. Butcher, you haven't fought in 3 months. And this is McCammon going around the room individually. They're all sitting except for me. I'm standing because I know what's coming and I'm freaking hot. So I'm taking off all my gear. I'm the only one standing in the dressing room. Everybody's like, nervous and shit. He comes to me, he said, and I wore a cage because the doctor told me I had to wear a plastic shield, right? Which I'd never worn. Soliloquy, Tom.
No, I love it. It's a great story. I'm riveted right now.
So he comes to me. I know, heart pounding. So he comes to me and he says, we brought you in here to be tough, to kill penalties, to do this, to do that. You're freaking brutal. Why don't you take that mask off? I said, well, all of a sudden you're a fucking doctor and you're going to tell me what to do? Why don't you talk to the doctor? I said, don't fucking talk to me like that. And he starts to leave the room. I pick up my skate and I chucked it at his head. Whoa. True story.
I know it is.
True story. It just misses him, just misses Jack Mack, bounces off the door and hits our goalie, Frank Caprice, our backup goalie. The bad part about that is the next morning it's in the paper.
Oh.
It's in the newspaper.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. So somebody leaks it, and that's, you don't leak shit like that.
No. What's in the locker room stays in the locker room. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what was wrong with that team. But
didn't something happen next year? Didn't they make you captain or something like that? And McIntyre came to you and said, that's why they made you captain, because you did that?
Yeah. So the next year I take off the shield. I go back to my normal stuff. Training camp, I think I got into 3 or 4 fights. I remember beating up Ray Neufeld in Phoenix. Neufeld was lipping me. Like Boschman, that backstabbing Boschman. Him and Neufeld used to yip me all the time. Boschman, he never threw a punch in 10 years of his career. It was a lip service piece of thing. But Neufeld and him, we played junior against each other too. So we had but I think that's the only time I fought him. So we're in Phoenix. I beat him up, and so we're coming to you got 3 or 4 days before from the end of camp to the start of the season. And McIlhargey comes up to me, says, McCammon wants to see you. I said, oh shit, here we go. We're going to get into it with him again. And he brings me into his office and he says, you had a pretty good camp. I said, thanks. Yeah, team's looking pretty good. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. What do you want, Bob? He said, we want to make you assistant captain. I said, you're kidding me. And I said, yeah.
See, that's how the hockey world works. You threw a skate at his head.
Yeah.
Assistant captain.
We really respected, the fact that you stood up and you don't take any bullshit and you say what you think is right, which, like I said earlier, I don't give a shit what I say now. People
did back then. You did back then, anyway.
Yeah. I call people out now, and it's probably not the right thing. Somebody's going to probably knife me or shoot me, but that's the way the world is now.
You're 63.
Yeah, I made it 63 years, Tom.
Yeah. Not yet.
10 broken noses, or one
nose broken 10 times.
Yeah. So he makes me assistant captain, and we had a pretty good year actually. And but then my body started the first year, the first 3 games, broken overall bone, then I ripped my thumb apart, then a skate cut my arm. So I was month and a half in a cast, and I was getting pissed. Then my back went. I said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm done.
Really?
Yep.
Really? But didn't you try to come back to Tampa?
Yeah, I went to Tampa, and I went back to the Islanders too. I went back twice.
Oh. And
the Islanders, Donnie Maloney, I got a hold of my lawyer, who was Van Beeswick's lawyer, Friedland, out of Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
Called the Islanders, and Donnie Maloney, I think, was assistant GM then.
Yep.
Donnie
he was our teammate, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked, and he said, why don't you come to camp? So I went to camp, and I think one of the highest compliments that I got was from Bill Torrey. He came up and talked to me, and he says, Larry, if you can get back to where you were when you played for the Rangers, we'd be happy to have you.
Well,
so
that's very nice.
That was extremely nice. From all the bullshit I took from previous general managers,
right.
And he didn't know me from just saying hi to me in training camp. So they offered me a contract. They sent me down. I didn't go.
Oh.
And then sure enough, one of the defensemen, I think Richie Pilon or somebody, broke his leg. One guy broke her arm. I would have been up there playing for the Islanders, but it is what it is.
So when you didn't go down to Myers, you retired at that point?
Yeah, that was it. I'm not going back on the buses and go through that crap again. No, I'd had enough.
Go ahead.
Well, the going back, when you're 19, 20, let me ask you a question. How long did you think, or what was your time frame to play? What did you, when you first started? Did you have one?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah.
No. You know what it is, Larry? That's a great question, because I think it was more, I just felt like I was just always going to play. Like, I never thought about retirement, which is not a smart thing to do, right? Because at some point you know you're going to retire. But maybe that's just the way we were built too. We had to be that way. It was just more like get to the rink the next day, whether you won or lose. You got to get to the rink. And
okay, that reminds me of another little story. I'm in Boston. I make the team my first year with Ray Bork, Brad McCrimmon. We're all rookies, and get sent down at Christmas time. The next year, this isn't a knock, but I took it as a knock.
Right.
Sinden brings in Guy Lapointe and Jimmy Schonfeld, signs them.
Now, these are two older players at the time.
Two older players and great players.
Yeah,
but
good guys.
So reporters come up to me and said, Larry, what do you think of this? I said, well, what the hell do you think I think of this? If I don't make this team within my first 3 years, so that gives me another year, by 23, if I don't make this team, I'm going home and going to school. That's what I told a reporter.
Oh, really? Wow.
So
did you really mean that?
No.
Oh. You're just mad.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Right.
It's like bringing in, when you're there, it's like bringing in two. Come on, and I know why they did it, because they were two great players.
Oh, sure.
Right. And I hadn't proven myself yet. I wasn't, but I played in the playoffs. I played 11 games the previous playoff year. They bring in two guys. So that I was pissed. So that year they traded me anyway. So it didn't matter. Right.
Right. So any regrets at all in your career?
Yeah, I have one. You guys asked me this. Davey Maloney asked me this on the Thursday program, and I said I didn't, but I did. So when I first started, I said, I'd like to make it 10 years. I think that would be a nice career. 10, that was it. So I think, thinking back, and I was on the bus at a reunion in Edmonton with Davey Hunter, who's funny, one of the funnier men. And I said, you know what, Davey, the only thing that Slats ever said to me, you said 4 words to me, 4 words. This is it. You're going to Halifax. You are going to Halifax. That's 4 words. And, and I said to him, and the whole bus is laughing, because I kind of did a podcast there by myself. I had a few PBRs, and I was venting, because it's 30-year reunion of the Oilers' first Stanley Cup, and we're all just bullshitting, and Johnny Muckler's up at the front, and I'm kind of giving it to him, and Slats, you guys traded me? Are you kidding me? Why would you trade me? So the only regret, I told Davey Hunter this, I said that I didn't fight more in Edmonton.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And I played in Edmonton to not make mistakes, and I didn't play my way, or how I knew how to play. I played to not, because those guys were so freaking good and they won every game. I just didn't want to be a statistic of, well, you played shitty, you're a -2 today when everyone else is a +6.
Yeah, sure. You don't want to be the reason that they lose, right?
That's right. So that's I should have fought. And when I went to New York, I said, screw it. Like I said, this is my last chance. I'm going to fight. I'm going to play. I'm going to hit. I'm going to spear. I'm going to chop. And that's, that's what,
well, you're a fantastic teammate, I'll tell you that. So what are you doing now? What have you done after the game?
So when I was in New York, again, going way back, Atlanta Sosnov was a brokerage firm, and they had called Donnie Maloney and I up. He's got a hold of us somehow and says, would you like in the summertime to come to the offices in downtown New York, Wall Street or off of Wall Street, and just see what a brokerage firm does? They said, sure. I don't. So I get on the train. I'm in Melnyk. I get on the train with my winter double-breasted blazer, because I didn't have any summer clothes. It's 95 degrees out. I'm sweating my ass off on the train, go down to Atlanta Sosnov. They got the old computers, on the move.
Yes.
They had great lunches. I remember that. So lunch was good. And I said, there's no freaking way I'm going to do this for a living. Right. But then I got into mutual funds, and that when I was at Edmonton, I was putting away like $500 a month to a mutual fund guy. So I started to learn. So that's 83, 84. I started to learn about mutual funds. I think I gave a woman stockbroker that I was referred to $10,000, and she lost it in about 4 days. I said, well, hey, I could probably do that. And so then when I retired, the mutual fund guy that I had in Edmonton said, I'll get you a job in Vancouver, because now I'm in Vancouver. I said, okay. So I took a year off. I went to Germany. My buddy was in Germany. Went to Germany a couple of times. Did some traveling, and then started with a mutual fund company here in Vancouver.
Wow.
And then with the mutual fund company, I didn't enjoy it because I was going to people's houses at, after their work or during the day or whatever. And I wasn't. It was good for me because they had a good selling program, a good schooling.
Right.
How to talk to people and how to sell. But I didn't like going to people's houses. And some of the guys that were at that firm at the time selling, I had a life insurance and I had a mutual fund license. So a few of the guys that were working at that firm went to become stockbrokers. And I said, shit, that's what I want to do. So, and through golf, which you don't think is a sport, Tom, and it's a waste of time, but right. I do walk 7 miles a day when I do go golfing. I met so many people, and that's kind of how I built my business, is through golfing. Talking about hockey, obviously, I've got a New York Ranger head cover for my golf clubs. I've got, all that type of stuff. I've just signed kind of on the QT advertising. Well, what do you? So I go to. Can I keep going, Tom, or am I cut off?
Did a couple of minutes.
Well, are you sure? Okay. Yeah. So I'm in Phoenix, which I'm going to be going to for a month here. I go a month. My brother's got a place down there. He's good enough to let me use it for a fee, of course. Sure. So I'm in Phoenix. I'm on the first hole of a golf course, Ocotillo, and I've got my New York Ranger head cover, and I got New York stuff, and I've got my New York Ranger koozie with a PBR in it.
Sure.
And I've got another mug with New York Ranger stuff all over it. This is a true story. I know bullshit. Get to the first hole, and the guy says, "You're a Ranger fan?" I said, "Yeah, something like that." He looks at my beer koozie. He says, "Come on." I said, "If you can figure out in the next 3 hours or 4 hours who I am, I'll tell you all about it." And they couldn't figure out who the hell I was. I was drafted by Boston. I did this. Couldn't figure out. And they were from Calgary. They were Calgary Flames fans. I said, "You guys are assholes."
Oh, Mel, it's always a pleasure having you on. Mel and I hadn't talked to each other in a long time. Then we started doing this Thursday show with Greshner and James Patrick and Dave Melnyk. Everybody kind of faded away. I give Larry a hard time because he puts on this act that he's the grouchiest man on the planet, but he's actually a fantastic father, fantastic husband. And I'm very glad you're my friend. Thanks for coming on there, brother.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Great to see you again.
Thanks, Larry.
The only thing before we leave, the only thing I can ask is that one little special someone. No, we don't want to talk about that. And I do need to get to New York. Is Tom Smith in New York as well, obviously?
Yes, he is. Well, he's in New Jersey, actually, but
New Jersey. Well, get me there.
Okay, brother. All right. See you, brother. Great to have you on.
Thanks, Larry. Tom, that was one we were waiting for a long time. Everybody wanted that. That's your good buddy and pal, Larry Melnyk.
God.
Tough guy, right? He's, I watched, during the interview, I watched the fight with Brown. He Dave Brown.
Oh, God, yeah. I beat it bad, too. Brown was throwing punches, too. It wasn't like Larry jumped him or something like that. It was a good fight.
He wasn't. I asked him, and people heard that, but I asked him, like, what was he saying? Because Brown looked seriously stunned. He's like, what the hell just happened there? So this little guy just pummeled me.
Yeah. Oh, God. When I get together with him, too, he's funny, man. He starts telling stories.
Yeah,
he's funny, man.
He's pretty dry. That was cool to hear and be a part of you guys interacting and breaking each other's chops. That was awesome.
That was a funny show. Everybody's got to listen to that one. All right, Grasshoppers, thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.
Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, bringing you an expanding library of education with even more ways to sharpen your trading skills. Access new online courses, insightful webcasts, articles, engaging videos, and more, all curated just for traders. Plus, guided learning paths with content designed to fit your unique interests. No sifting to find exactly what you need, so you can spend your time learning to trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.